Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today I'm going to show you how to paint a line and wash fox. This is a beginner lesson, but you can be an advanced painter to enjoy it. However, I'm going to break it down very, very specifically, step by step, every color mix, every technique, every tool, everything, so that anyone at all levels can paint it today. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to help me bring this lesson to you. We only have a few colors today. We're only going to be using Payne's Gray, Nickel Azo Yellow, and Quinacridone Gold. You could be exchanging the yellow and the quinacridone for your own yellow and just a burnt rust red, so you don't even have to have my exact colors. Oh my gosh, guys, this is going to be a lot of fun. There's really nothing for you to do but to find the materials that you're going to see in the description and everything in there, and come back. And remember, we have a giveaway today, so stay tuned to the end to find out how you can enter to win a month-long membership to our patronage. All right, get your stuff, come back in the pad and meet me right now. We're going to paint this together. It's going to be fun. So on today's lesson, we're going to be using a block of 9 by 12, 140-pound watercolor paper. This, and what do I mean by a block, is all the edges of the pad are glued together. So when you do really wet techniques and the paper buckles a little bit, it doesn't get away from you. And then as it dries, it's going to stretch flat. I am using the brand Fabriano, and in that line is the Artistico traditional white. They have extra white and traditional white, and they have hot press and cold press. I mean, any of it is really quite good.
Yeah, so they got a lot of cotton in it.
Got a lot of cotton.
100%
100% cotton, which just helps the paper absorb water at a pretty predictable rate.
And it does a really cool stuff.
I'm going to be using a number 14 Raphael Soft Aqua. For my waterproof pen part of this, I'm going to be using a Faber-Castell Pitt Artist pen. But I know you guys are going to ask, yeah, the Sharpie fine points seem to be working okay for it. So that's been going all right. You see a lot of colors out on the pad here. These I just use during the year. I don't use every color every class, so we'll go over the colors as we go through the class, but you won't necessarily have to use everything. But just to tell you what the entire color scheme is, it's Payne's Gray, Nickel Azo Yellow, Hansa Yellow Medium, Pyrrole Red, Quinacridone Magenta, Ultramarine Blue, Phthalo Blue, Opera Pink, Transparent Pyrrole Orange, Burnt Umber, Quinacridone Gold, and Phthalo Green. So those are the colors that I use just consistently, though each class may have a different set. And if you want to see exactly those ones, you can check the video page on the website, where you get the traceable and everything, or you can check the description below. If you're not going to want to freehand this, I recommend going by www.theartsherpa.com. I guess I could have just said Art Sherpa website, couldn't I? Everybody's pretty online and literate, something. So you go by there, and there's a traceable option. You can find it there. You can go to the video project and find this project and all of its resources as well for download. So wherever is better for you. Okay. First thing is, if you're not going to be drawing, you're going to want to use the provided traceable. The traceable is a printed out piece of paper, and I rub graphite on the back. I tape it down to my watercolor pad in two places so it doesn't move. And then you just very carefully trace over all the lines that are on the traceable, or the lines that you want. If you don't want these lines, you could use your own. I won't be offended in any way. Just kind of use this here and get them all real good. And when you have all the lines that you want, then you can remove this from the paper, and you will have the faintest.
The faintest.
I mean, I'm not even sure how well you guys can see it. You can kind of see it if I shade it. The faintest little line transfer of this drawing, but enough for you to see, right? And that's when I'm going to take the waterproof pen. I get to do this at the beginning because it's a waterproof pen. And I'm very carefully going to go over some of the lines that I have here, right? And these become the anchors for the artwork. It is important not to get too many lines in, because you don't want the lines to be everything. You just want it to be some of what's going on.
Just talking about the box.
Just a little bit of expression. See how they're not even solid? I'm very carefully lining. Watch me do this before you do this yourself, because the temptation will be to overline.
What the fox says?
To
ask, what does the fox say?
It is, your temptation is to ask what the fox says.
Very high.
Very high. So you can see it's just, oh my gosh, how few lines is that, right? It's all we need because we can see our faint line right here and our other faint guidelines, which means when we come in and do the wet into wet techniques, we're going to get a really good result. Now I've added a product called Ox Gull to my water, a couple of drops.
What is that?
As per the instructions. It's an anti-surfactant. I think it's made out of, it is a improve flow and enhance wet into wet techniques agent, right?
Ooh.
This is not the same as a blending agent for acrylic, but this does break down the surface tension of the water and allows the pigment to flow through the water better. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get my brush super wet.
Yep.
And I'm going to come here into the tail and just a little bit over the lines of the tail because I want kind of a big bloom. I am going to paint this in with water. You're like, wait, what? I know it said watercolor, but just water? I can't even see it. Now the trick with this is you want the paper to be wet but not soaked. You want just enough water on the surface of the paper that when you come in with your Quinacridone Gold, look at that beautiful bloom and flow. All right, that you get this lovely effect, this super expressive effect. This is Quinacridone Gold. It's like a burnt sienna, but I feel prettier. I am going to do some little short strokes, but I'm trying not to paint the individual hairs, even if I'm implying the flow of a hair. Now, interestingly enough, here, I'm going to come to the outside edge of my water, where I put it, and let that remain a little bit white because the end of a fox's tail tends to be white.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a little bit of my Payne's gray, and I might work it into my Quinacridone Gold in a couple places. I'm going to get it into the tail. Little bit, very loose, you can see. Little bit into the tail.
Yeah.
A little bit of dark around just to make it interesting. Doesn't that look nice? Here, oh, I didn't mean to take out that white. Regrettable. Sometimes you want to keep the white, and I will find myself wanting to preserve it.
Mm-hmm.
And then accidentally paint over it on occasion. I want the tail to be so fluffy.
It is very fluffy.
Just bringing a little extra color in there. Very fluffy, expressive little tail.
It is.
I'm going to get real wet with my paint again. And I'm going to come on this side of the fox. It's still clean water, clear water. I can still faintly see my line for the body. But I have this counterposing line that no matter where the paint goes, it's going to hold the position and gesture of the fox in bounds. Important stuff.
Okay.
So you can paint inside the line, or you can go outside, and I can come here and start to blend the tail a little bit into the fox body. All right, I'm going to load up with a heavy amount of Quinacridone Gold, and I'm going to come right here along where I had my pencil line. Can you see what it's doing? Now it's making almost like a little furry technique.
That's really cool.
Just a little furry, little fluffy. Just a little bit. And then we'll put this through here. My fox got fat. But we don't mind. He's a kept in captivity zoo fox or something.
He's a happy fox.
So my fox did get fat, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, my table with my paper got moved, so I'm going to take this paper, and I'm going to kind of come here and come back and make sure that I don't lose entirely the line of the fox. I just need the paper towels. I haven't removed all of the fur effect. I do want it to be loose and open. And that's why it's important to have good paper. Besides you're getting the good flow techniques, besides, you're getting the results you want, good paper allows you to lift. So if I come back even with a little bit of water, I can come here and wet and lift a bit. Can you see? And I've got some other little techniques that I'm going to be bringing around.
Okay.
But you can see I got his little body.
A little less.
A little less. He went on a diet. He went on a little fox diet and he's doing much better now. I also am going to want to kind of pull back some of this here because I want a little bit of a lighter color along his little jaw lines. And my water was a little bit higher than I wanted. But you can see if you have good quality paints and water,
yep,
you can subtract where is necessary. Look at that. And I think that's another, sometimes people don't realize, like in watercolor, you can erase. You do have some control. Let's get a little of our quinacridone. Now the paper's not pre-wet here. I'm going to just start to paint this color carefully on his face.
Yeah.
The trick is I'm going to bring this in around the nose. See, I'm leaving the white.
Mm-hmm.
Come around the face here. And there's definitely got to be some white here. And I'll do some negative space painting to put it back. Interesting what we can do. And I'm just using the Quinacridone Gold. You could use burnt sienna or any brown that you really like that's a red brown. And I'm going into a very light color, if you'll notice. The color is light because I can always come back in, right? Like right here.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe we're painting back some negative space to his face.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we can put that back. And come in and work a little wet into wet. A little bit of color coming up the ears. A little bit coming off here. Over that white space. Nice counterbalancing.
Yeah.
So painting loose doesn't mean, being completely out of control with what you're doing. It's just about recognizing, what do I have to put on here for the fox to be fox, and what could I let go, really? Take a little of my Payne's gray over here, because I definitely want to come on the ear a bit. A little bit down that. A little bit around the eye, huh? And it's okay to let that bloom out some. A little bit there. Just kind of gives it. It's got a bit of that going on.
Mm-hmm.
Get some gray at the nose. And we'll start his little fox nose.
The face.
We don't have to paint that whole thing. That's looking pretty good. That's not bad. He's fairly loose. We haven't overworked who he is in any way. I'm going to come here back to where I had kind of that white, and I'm going to bring a little water up. And if you painted with me for a minute, you've kind of done this technique where we add a little bit of kind of expressive color that comes out from our central focus.
Mm-hmm.
That gives space. So let's get a lot of Payne's gray on here, and notice we're not losing all of our fur, are we?
Yeah.
I let it be very loose. I don't want it to take on too much. And then interestingly enough, I'm going to come through here and I'm going to counterbalance what I have there around this little tail a bit. Not over completely this side, just a little bit here and then here. Little juxtaposition of value.
Oh.
I like this because it gives us a almost abstract background that he lives in.
I like it. It's the
And take a little bit of lines that almost imply plants.
oh yeah. Now he's in the woods.
There's a little bit in the woods, maybe. A little bit in the trees or some type of nature. I think that's the hardest part, is just having a loose line that feels like twigs and bushes that doesn't become so structural that you lose everything that you have going on with him. And you can see when we come outside of the blended area, you get these hard lines.
Oh yeah.
Inside, they soften up. As if there's maybe a little mist or something mysterious. Rinse, 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 rinse. This next part is like, for me, the challenge, because I've got to get just enough nickel Azo Yellow on my brush to get in the eye and not outside the eye. Everything around it is dry now, so I won't lose that yellow. And I'll come in and do some finishing work with maybe a watercolor pencil or something like that. I'm going to add a little nostril to him there.
Which brush is that?
This is the number 14 Soft Aqua, and it is just a really good brush. I really enjoy it so much.
You've been wielding it.
I wield it.
With intention.
I do. Now I'm going to do an interesting little thing here. I'm going to come in and maybe speak about some nature.
Speak about the nature.
Of nature?
Let me go back over to the nature.
I am going to want this to be just a bit damp so that when we do this, it just is a smidge fuzzy. Otherwise, it won't feel misty.
Then the fox walks up to him and says, "Do you have some nature on your fur?"
He's like, "Yeah, I have so much nature on my fur, you have no idea." Just capturing a little bit of that. So trees tend to be little kind of darts or triangles, and you want to pull a little bit of the branches. The branches sort of face down, and it's just about finding the right amount of random shapes. Notice I'm just tapping my brush up and down, narrow at the top, and I kind of bring it out. I'm not having to use a fan brush or any specialty techniques here, right? That's not necessary. And come up into the dry area and have some little hard branches, and then where it goes into the wet, it softens. And that does create the sense of that something is misty and maybe not in focus.
Mm-hmm.
And that part is, I think, really nice.
It is very.
You don't have to have a lot of it This is sort of a very romantic little story of a wild creature. Right. I can always come in and get a little of my Quinacridone Gold. Pull some mist up into that, right?
Uh-huh.
Maybe this little tree is here. Interesting to find the little balance of the trees that say, oh, there's a little landscape.
Huh.
I'm going to grab a little of my Quinacridone.
The landscaping. It's like I'm kind of hiding in the bushes a little bit.
I am the bushes. I'm the spirit.
I still feel like it's funny. One fox walks up to another fox. Pardon me, you have a little forest on your fur. A little nature there. Pardon me, yes, on your tail. A little nature there. Oh my, I do.
A little more of that down. Doing little trees.
Mmm.
Tells a story, doesn't it?
It does.
I can come and soften with some water here. And then these trees missed out.
They missed out.
They missed out a little bit. Trees have got to missed out a little bit, or it doesn't really work very well. But I don't want too much water. I want it to just lightly mist. And that's going to be the trick, is finding the balance of the water, especially on your paper with your paint. Right? Because all watercolor does not perform the same way that all other watercolor does. They all kind of have personalities, each brand. You know, they have their own little formulation and things that they add to the paint, which can change how it blooms. You know, sometimes now they have different binders because Golden came up with a new binder. So they don't all have the same binder.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
More nature.
More nature. It's sort of implied, though, isn't it? It's not too. And you know, you've got to figure out when is too much, and what is too much. I've got to figure out how to do this. I may want to do it in my pen. Little birds, maybe.
Ooh.
Come and put the little eyes here. There we go, little fox eyes. So we got some little fox eye happening. Can always improve this a bit.
Wow.
So it's just a nice little, you know, you start to tell a nice little story.
Yeah.
I like to practice these little twigs. They help not only with dry shrubbery, but also sometimes with trees and things when you get to practice little grasses and branches and things. Little bits.
Yeah. Here and there.
Some soft little. So this is the soft and hard against each other. Right? We have the soft blending in the background, and then we have a little bit of hard line here. Speaks a little bit to environment. I have some here. I'm definitely going to want to add just a little bit here. Make sure that it's one side.
Soft side. Yeah, you balance.
It balances out.
Ooh, it does.
Look at that. Anywhere that you want to come back and in what has softened, right? You can come in and really sort of piece that out, can't you? And now you have the mistiness you need.
There's a little story of nature being told in this fur.
There is a little story of nature being told in this fur.
Now the fox says, you've got a little more than just a little nature on your fur. You have a whole story of nature on your fur.
Well, I mean.
The other fox says, what did you step in?
I think given the amount of mythology around foxes being very spiritual beings and the legends of nine-tailed foxes, I would say let the fox do what the fox wants to do. Right? It knows who it is. You never know what the sly fox is going to do. I feel like that's a nice balance. So I'm going to call that there, and I'm going to give this a sign. Wasn't that fun, John?
That was.
Go ahead and sign here just outside the painting peripheral. So this is a really lovely example of line and wash where we got to do some very emotive techniques, wet into wet, really played hard lines against soft lines. It helps you understand that you don't have to necessarily paint every line, do everything and every painting every time, right? You don't have to paint every hair. Sometimes it is as important what you don't paint for a piece to feel light and expressive and fresh. Now, don't forget to enter the giveaway. The rules are in the comments. Basically, leave a comment with the hashtag #TheArtSherpa, and we are giving away 1 month of patronage. You can check the rules for when we're going to announce the winner and everything, but that's all you've got to do to enter. And good luck on that. Because we're always excited to have new patrons, even if they're guest patrons. We do fun stuff over there. It's a good time. And you'll have a good time catching up on some of those more interesting, weird classes that I do. Like I have nudes over in the patronage. In watercolor. Not really. They're not really. They're like true figure painting. They're pretty tame. Nothing going to be on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
It's pretty mellow. But that being said, that's over there. And so you might enjoy that. So don't forget to enter. I hope you are enjoying these line and wash classes. Again, that's the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen. I really like this one. If all you have is a Sharpie, you can use a Sharpie. Some Bic pens are waterproof. You can just use an HB pencil if you have none of this. It's not really important, that you have exactly what I have, just understanding why I have what I have. Again, the colors were Payne's Gray, Nickel Azo Yellow, Quinacridone Gold. It was 3 colors today.
Yeah.
Very simple piece. So you just never know how it's going to go. All right. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you at an easel really soon. Bye. So do you guys remember back in the days, maybe you don't, maybe you are younger than this, when you actually had to handwrite messages and take them to the post office and send it and wait for a reply? We called that mail. That was before email. We had this thing called a PS, a postscript. It was sort of like oh yeah, I remembered something at the last minute and I'm going to add it on at the end. This is like a PS to you guys. I'm looking at this and it's just, there's a little thing on this drawing that is bugging me, and I'm going to do it as your PS postscript to this video lesson. I realized that I wanted some more anchoring lines to this tail. it just was bugging me a little bit. And while I do believe in having a lot of free kind of like open stuff, I just realized that it was just going to bug me all day looking at it. And already I'm feeling such a total relief because there was just a couple things where I was like, you know, if this little creature just had
just a couple more touches,
I would just feel so much better about it. And, you know, you don't ever have to do that with me, but sometimes I just like to add a few of those little things. And, you know, I would do that always as an artist myself. There we go. But sometimes those little touches just help me feel so much better in a piece. And so it's just, you realize like, oh, I just need a couple more anchoring lines so I just don't go crazy. So this is my PS to you. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you put the signature on and you're like, not done yet. And that's always okay to do. All right, now for real, I'm going to see you really soon. Bye-bye.